Hi, Quick Sketch. As promised, I wanted to show you this technique that uses pastels. This is the new pastel by Prismacolor. And what I've done is I have made a Xerox copy of my boardroom with my little cutout man. And so I'm going to use this vignette to show you how the pastels work. So this is the new pastel. I've had this set for quite some time. You can see some of the chalk pieces are broken because I sometimes only use a piece of it and then stick it back in here. So I'm going to plan out my colors just like I do for any vignette in advance. And so I think what I want to do is have a light brown table, maybe black chairs. He's going to be in some kind of a gray suit, red tie. I'm not really sure what I want to do on the walls yet, but I'm going to think about it. Probably the floor will also be a wood color, and we'll just go from there. Okay, so when you're working with pastels, you want to have some tissue. I'm going to use the technique that uses the X-Acto knife, but you could, if they're soft enough, you could just, rub the tissue onto the color and then add it, to your drawing. So I'm going to start with the table though. And so if I want to go with a very light brown, I may go with something like this. This one here. And a lot of times we'll just shave off a bit. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing, so that you have some loose pieces of the chalk. Then you're going to basically dip and rub into your drawing. And you can leave some white areas too for when you can show light shining on it. I'm going to use this same color for the floor, and then I'm going to come back. And since those chairs are going to be black, I can go right over them. And I want to go in the direction that I think that the floor boards are going. Add a little back here and a little in the front. And the great thing about chalk is that it can sort of just fade away. Okay, so I've got a couple of darker browns here all ready to go. And let's add this medium brown. Sometimes I do blow it around. Okay, and then we'll come back in with this much darker one. There goes my doggy. Right, I'm going to come back in with some gray and get a little bit of gray on the man's suit. This one's kind of a medium gray. And I'm just going to keep switching around my tissue so that I don't have the wrong colors coming off. The other trick that I sometimes use is I have a folded up piece of paper handy, and if I want to make sure that I only get what I want and not elsewhere, then I'll block it off a little bit with the piece of paper, or sometimes I use an index card, something like that, to make sure that the color only goes where I really want it to go. And again, I normally would blow that away, but I have my mic on, so I don't want to do that to you guys. All right, so I'm just going to keep adding here. Need a little bit more up here. All right, so now he has kind of a taupey gray suit. And there are times when I actually use the stick itself, and so if I want this tie, instead of doing something that would smear quite a lot, I can go right in here with the stick, kind of add the red for his tie. Okay, and he has a white shirt. And then I do have some kind of skin tone colors. I mean, you could do whatever skin tone you want. Just going to make him kind of a white guy for now. All right, so the rest of it, I think I'll do some contrasting color, like a nice, maybe a green wall or blue wall. Let's see what will work. So for some reason I'm feeling chartreuse. I don't know why. So I'm going to do some chartreuse on the one wall on the left side. And then the right wall is actually windows. And so we'll do some blue over there. And maybe the back wall, the far back wall, will be some kind of a bright. I'm not sure yet. So this is why it's better to plan ahead. So you know what you're getting into. And again, if I wanted to use my paper so that I don't get that chartreuse on the back wall, I could do this. All right, and then let's get some blue going on for that window area. And we can always build it, make it darker and darker as we go. I'm going to start a new tissue. I'm just going to assume that this is an office that has a whole wall of windows here. So the pastels are super soft looking. They don't overpower like your markers will do sometimes. Just gives it, you know, that nice hint of color. I added a little bit of pink to his neck so he looked like he had some shadow there. Okay, whoops. And then I'm going to come back in with the black. Now there would be more that I would do to this, but of course this video is getting quite long, so I just wanted to give you the idea of what this is all about. For the chairs, I could come in with just marker if I wanted to, but I think I'm going to go ahead and add just with the side of this here, and then I got to be really careful with this because it will smear everywhere if I'm not real careful. So again, I may want to make sure that I block off some of this. So it does get a little messy when you're going to the dark colors. Okay, so that's me getting started on it. And then the great thing about pastels is that you can come back in with an eraser. This is called a kneaded eraser because you can make it whatever shape you want. But I can come back in and I can get rid of anything that went in the wrong place. So that's what's great about pastels, because you can start to lighten things up. And let's say I wanted to add, you know, a little reflection or whatever it might be. I can start to come back in with my little eraser and fix it up. So one of the other things we do is we come back in with maybe a pen, So if you really have something that's nice and solid that you want to show, you can come back in with a pen. And you can go right over the pastel and it works really, really well. Okay, so you don't want to outline everything, but this happens to be a black chair, so I would probably just fill in the whole thing. Maybe leave a little bit somewhere so that it looks like it has some reflectiveness to it. And I could do that with all the chairs if I wanted to. Okay, so you can kind of see how fun the pastels can be. I could still come back in with the other thing I sometimes use is a Q-tip to help smear it around, because sometimes the tissue is not accurate enough. Okay, so I would keep going with this and get all of my chairs in. I could add information back here. If this is a TV, I could make that black, or add some more. So I'll keep working on this and show you how it turns out in the end, but I wanted to just give you the basics on how to get pastels and how to use those to colorize. So you'll see that I'm going to come back in with a black pen and add detail. Okay, so finally I added a little bit of darker blue to the windows with the tissue. I added black pen with my flare, and I also colored in a little bit of the TV back here, and I'm using that kind of scribble technique or line technique that we learned with our pen and ink. And not filling everything in is totally okay. I gave him some shadows a little bit, and I think that would probably be okay. I mean, you can add more color. I could make this like a deep brown or make this another color. But for now, I just wanted to give you an idea. You could also come in with some more detail as far as what sort of flooring you want to put in, some more material kind of things. I added a few little white marks to show that it's window. And that's it. So if you do get pastels, please have a great time with them. Bye.